want someone to believe a lie, all you have to do is tell it to them over and over and over.
The number one person in TikTok is by far Trump, me. I just got, I'm number one. Like Taylor Swift was number 11. I'm number one in TikTok by far.
Hello, and welcome to my channel. You know, guys, I am trying to put out as much facts and truth as I can. I'm not affiliated with Midas Touch or any of those big podcasts. I don't think I would make it that far. Those guys are, them guys are amazing. Midas Touch. A lot of times I take some of their clips, and because they want to get their news out there, I add them to my channel. So hopefully they are watched and they are shared, so everybody can see what exactly is going on in our country. A lot of us know that our country is falling apart due to some idiot we have sitting in the White House. I hope that I can give you guys just as good as news as Midas Touch. They have links to all the information. I don't have that many links to information, only what I research. And I do a lot of research. Sometimes I'm up to 2 o'clock in the morning doing research to make videos for you guys. So please, like and share my videos if you like them. Leave a comment. I really appreciate it. You guys are very important to me. You guys are very important to the rest of the country, because we all need to come together in order to stop this chaos. We have criminals running our country. We literally have criminals running the United States, and we have to stop it before it's too late.
My bankers and I worked out a terrific deal that allows me to come out stronger than ever. I see the deal as a great victory, and eventually the rest of the world will too. Being on the verge of bankruptcy, being bailed out by the banks,
well, you don't have to say on the
skating on thin ice and almost drowning, that's a businessman to be admired.
You say on the verge of bankruptcy, Barbara, and you talk on the verge, and you listen to what people are saying.
I talk to your bankers.
Well, that's fine. And what do they say? I mean, you know, depending on which banker you're talking to, what do they say?
The only way you even have a chance is by selling that property out there totally, the plaza.
Well, I don't know what the bankers have said. The plaza is a very valuable property. Everybody told me, oh, you paid too much, you paid too much. Now they're all saying what a great deal he made on the plaza.
Not. You write in your book.
It's time to lock them all up. We're fucking sick of the lies they pump. Quit selling this country to the highest buck. Enough is enough. It's time to lock them all up. No more backroom deals, no more cover-ups. If nobody's above the law, then lock them all up. Enough is enough. It's time to lock them all up. Every damn promise dies after election day. They shake your hand, then they walk away. Campaign speeches, polished smiles. Meanwhile, we're drowning another mile. Left side, right side, I don't give a damn. Crooked is crooked, that's where I stand. Sick of the theater, sick of the show. Watching the same damn circus roll. Lobby money buying another vote. Regular folks barely staying afloat. Different different suit, different tie, same damn snake, wearing no disguise. Enough is enough.
To prioritize case at the DOJ. It's important. It's the Epstein files. And when Judge Sullivan said this, I was like, yes, finally, somebody is actually saying out loud what we've all been saying, which is this should be the priority for the DOJ. Then Judge Sullivan says, how is that nobody can give me a date by which this redaction log is going to be done with the Federal Register? I want you to get that person on the phone. If not, then I'm going to be forced to impose a date, and I don't want to be arbitrary and do that. Judge Sullivan then said, Congress intended the public and the victims to get this information. My job as the judge to ensure that this law is enforced. Then Andrew Block, on behalf of Todd Blanche, says, oh, Mr. Blanche has tried to comply with this order, but we need a clear, clean order. And then Judge Sullivan said, you want another order? And it's going to say something to the effect of, I really mean it this time. At which point in time, the courtroom erupted in laughter because it was just so absurd because Block kept on saying, I need a clean order. I need a clean, clear order. And the judge said, you know what? Part of me contemplated doing sealed proceedings where I invited just the government into court and no one else and allowed them to speak to me and walk through these unredacted items. But then the judge says, but then I said no, because the public has the right to know what's going on. The victims have the right to know, quote, what the hell is going on in this case. Now, with regards to the foreign language documents, the court says, I ordered the defendant, Todd Blanche, to initiate review of these documents and to give notice that this review is underway. And instead, Todd Blanche said that the court can't supplant Congress's acceptance of it's not practicable to be able to do these interpretations or these translations. And Sullivan said, I'm just trying to ensure compliance here because this is a requirement that is long overdue for these documents. Andrew Block, on behalf of Todd Blanche, says, I don't even know how many documents there are when the judge asked him. And then the judge says, but you knew this was going to be discussed today. Do you guys see a theme here or a common denominator questioning from the court? You're at the podium as counsel for the Attorney General and you don't have this information? I mean, this is the kind of dialogue that was going on. And then
And now, she's gone. They say it's family. But here's the question. Why now? Why now? Why now? Why now?
Three gone. Who's next? Yeah. Three press secretaries, Donnie, tell me what's the pattern. One leaves the podium, now another one is packing. Caroline was the shield, she was ready for war. Now she's walking out the White House door. 28 with a podium fire in a speech. Trump's fiercest defender, she was ready to preach. Had a baby, came back, took the pressure again. Then another baby came and now this is the end? Hold up. After fighting through the noise and the strain, family is the reason, but let's look at the chain. Go back to Ford, 74, Ted Horse trying to restore some trust before Nixon's pardon walked through the door. 1 month on the job, then he handed in the letter. Sometimes conscience weighs more than the pressure. Then Donnie came back, Spicer at the mic. Scaramucci walks in and the power dynamic strikes. Press secretaries don't just carry microphones, they carry the story into combat zones. When the story gets heavy, somebody drops the weight. Wait.
Who can stand at the podium when the pressure gets high? Who keeps telling the story when the story won't fly?
Three press secretaries gone,
And the microphones stay on. Who can stand at the podium when the pressure gets high?
when the numbers say one thing
And the headlines say why?
they call it a departure.
I call it a question.
Who survives the White House pressure? Now let's look at the story she had to defend. Earring on the headlines, war that wouldn't end. Homeless is control, that's what the president said. But if the straits control, where are the ships instead? Before the war, traffic numbered over 100 a day. Now reports show single digits crossing the way. You can't spin the oil flowing when you look at the fact. The Iranian threat is live and the ships are tracked. Then somebody asks about talks with Erin. Donnie fires back. That's the plan, is rage at the microphone, leadership at stake. Facts should be facts. When the missiles are awake, then the messaging gets wild. Aliens in the chat. I'm not saying Caroline left because of that, but when you're standing at that podium every single day, what happens when
reality interrupts what you say. Maybe it's family, maybe the war, but watch the people behind the White House door. Terror horse walked when conscience wouldn't bend. Spicer walked when the power structure changed. Now Caroline's leaving while the world rearranged. 3 Trump press secretaries have now left the chair. If your job is to defend the administration,
What happens
when defending the administration
becomes harder than running the administration?
that's the question.
Who can stand at the podium when the pressure gets high? Hey, who keeps telling the story when the story won't fly?
3 press secretaries gone,
But the microphone stays on. Who can stand at the podium when the pressure gets high?
when the numbers say one thing.
And the headlines say why.
Family is the reason, that's the line that we know. But history says, watch what happens behind the show. Kevin says she's leaving for a family, and maybe that's exactly the truth. But politics isn't just about what people say. It's about timing, it's about pressure, it's about patterns. And sometimes the person holding the microphone is the first person to know when the story is getting too heavy to carry. 3 gone, who's next?
3 gone, who's next?
3 gone, who's next? Who's next?
You can see he must have had a horrible childhood to be the man that he is now. But that will be over. And I think the world is definitely with pendulums. So we have been moving in this authoritarian way for a while. But I think it's gone to its limit and it's coming back. And I think if what we can do is it comes back with wisdom, that we will have learned from this process, that we will be better for having gone through this. And the sense of responsibility for and to each other, all of us on this planet, you know, can be part of the fabric of how we learn how to live with each other. So
of federal elections. The Constitution gives states the power to set the time, place, and manner of those elections. Congress can override those choices in many instances, but only through legislation. An executive order issued by Donald Trump is not legislation. Donald Trump is not Congress. Donald Trump is an authoritarian who wants to act as if he can do things that the Constitution doesn't allow him to do and that federal law doesn't empower him to.
A wannabe authoritarian dictator, a pirate, whatever you want to call him. And he has his little crew that he's put into office that aren't qualified for the jobs that they are doing. The only jobs that they are qualified for doing is dismantling. This is what they are doing. They are dismantling this country piece by piece. And the Senate has given them the rubber stamps to do it. The House, Mike Johnson, has given Trump the stamp of approval to rip this country apart, where it's going to take us years and years to put it back together. We've lost allies. We've lost a lot. They've given billionaires a tax break. And then they have nerve enough to get on there and say, well, it's good that the billionaires got the tax breaks because they create jobs. Huh. Oh, really? The trickle-down effect, which never worked at all. Reagan started that trickle-down effect, and ever since then, nothing has trickled down from the trickle-down effect, and it never will. Because these millionaires and billionaires want to be millionaires and billionaires, and no matter how much money they have, they always want more, and they always want to give you less. So the trickle-down effect, the only trickle-down effect that we get is poverty. hunger, not being able to pay our rent, not being able to buy a home, not being able to put your kids through college, not being able to put your kids through public schools because they want to demolish public schools and have charter schools where you have to pay an arm and a leg for your kid to go to school. How many of you can afford that? Food prices are high, and they're going to be high for a long time. Gas prices are high. That's going to keep going up. It's going to keep going up. Then we have Donald Trump, Netanyahu's butt puppet, who sticks his hand up Donald Trump's ass and controls Donald Trump in every move that he makes. Then we have Trump praising Kim Jong-un again, another dictator. That's all he's interested in. He's interested in being a dictator, an authoritarian, and it's never going to happen because we're not going to let it happen. Come November, we have to show who we are. Independents, Republicans, and Democrats. Independents, all of us. We have to step up, and we have to show them in November just who we are and just what we're going to stand for. We are not going to take ICE, his authoritarian Nazi group, running through the streets and killing people like they've been doing. They're not even giving up the information that they need for these ICE agents to be prosecuted for the murders that they commit. They've got a graveyard out there. You would be surprised of the people that ICE had killed that we don't know about. These uneducated mega out there that are for Trump. These idiot blacks that are out there that call themselves Trump supporters are nothing but bootlicking butt puppets. That's right. They do anything for a fucking dollar. That means even standing against their own people. Look at the Supreme Court Justice, Clarence Thomas. He totally went KKK. And he's still doing it. For what? For money. Against his own people. Shutting the doors of progress for his own people. To keep his people in a hole. That's what Clarence Thomas is doing. Like I said, November comes, we have to stand up and we have to fight. We have to be at them polls. We have to put in our ballots. Our write-in ballots. They're trying to stop those too. They're trying to stop any way they can to stop us from voting. That's blacks and that's women. This new bill that Trump is trying to push for voting, it does nothing but hurt women and blacks to keep them away from the voting. The voting. So people, let's step up.
So we mentioned Bill Gates earlier. In the last 20 years, Gates has invested billions in the world's largest charitable foundation and is responsible for genuine progress against malaria and preventable disease. Gates and Epstein met in 2011. People had told Gates that Epstein could help him find some wealthy donors for the Gates Foundation. So They immediately got into talking. And on December 11th, 2014, Gates sent Epstein the following. I enjoyed the breakfast a lot. All of the attendees were interesting people. We managed to talk about philanthropy enough to get their reaction without putting them on the spot too much. On the surface, their relationship appeared entirely philanthropic. But on July 18th, 2013, Epstein wrote a draft letter that he never ended up sending, and it reveals everything about the true nature of their relationship. Dear Bill, I cannot believe that you have chosen to both disregard and discard our friendship developed over the last 6 years. I'm aware that accidents happen, but it is how each of us has chosen to deal with this unfortunate event that has me dismayed beyond comprehension. You have decided to discharge me from my job. Had Larry, your PR person, tell me that I engaged in morally inappropriate behavior, and then asked me to be the major actor in a cover-up so that you can maintain the reputation that you have worked so hard to achieve. This email clearly refers to Epstein's charges as an actual offender. Gates appears to have tried to sever the relationship, and Epstein's manipulation, it's working at full force here. But the next passage is when it starts to reveal something considerably darker. I can assure you that if the shoe were on the other foot, I would have said, Boris, this is not your fault. I confess to Melinda, you didn't. It was a moment of weakness, and I promise that I will do anything within my power to make it right for you. I have more money than anyone needs, and I do my utmost to structure something so that you will not be penalized for my error. In that regard, I suggest I buy you the house that you had your heart set on. And then the letter goes one step further. To add insult to injury, you then, subsequently with tears in your eyes, implore me to please delete the emails regarding your STD. Your request that I provide you antibiotics that you can surreptitiously give to Melinda, and the description of your peanuts, you also made it clear to me that I am not to refer to redacted name. That is a topic that must remain between the two of us. But it does not end there, because there was a second draft of this. Yes, it gets worse. From helping Bill to get in order to deal with the consequences of with Russian girls, to facilitating his illicit trysts with married women, to being asked to provide Adderall to bridge tournaments. This is insane. A man who has spent billions fighting preventable disease is apparently being threatened through the soft language of a wounded friend with the exposure of an affair, an STD, and secret antibiotics. And the description of his peanuts. Gates denies the contents of these emails. He calls them unsent drafts, and that's true. They were unsent, but they were written, saved, and filed. Epstein kept them on purpose, possibly with the intention of sending them. But despite the contents in these emails, again, there was no investigation, nothing from the DOJ, nothing at all. And it is worth pausing here, because we have now seen 3 variations of the same answer. Branson jokes about harems and walks free. Musk lies about wanting to visit a PDF island and walks free. Gates sits in the files, apparently blackmailed over an affair, and he still walks free. Virginia Giuffre, at 16, she had no press spokesperson or protection. She just had a $200 bill and a door closing behind her. What the files only on record to Congress, that man is Howard Lutnick, the current U.S. Commerce Secretary under the Trump administration, and he was Epstein's former next-door neighbor when they lived in New York. In an October 2025 interview, Lutnick categorically stated that he cut all ties with Epstein in 2005 after seeing a massage table in his home, and publicly told Congress, I did not have any relationship with him. I barely had anything to do with that person, claiming roughly 10 emails over 14 years. But in 2012, Lutnick emailed Epstein, Hey Jeff, we're landing in St. Thomas early Saturday afternoon, and we're planning to head over to St. Bart's Anguilera on Monday at some point. Where are you located? Does Sunday evening for dinner sound good? That is one email. And there are over 250 documents in the files with his name, most of them directly contradicting what he said in the interview. He lied to Congress and the world about his involvement. And the consequence? Trump's spokesperson said, "The president fully supports the secretary." Lutnick still holds his job without any questioning or repercussions whatsoever. We need to go back to the elite social circles of New York and Florida in the 1980s, where Jeffrey Epstein managed to insert himself. And there, he met a flashy, young real estate developer named Donald Trump. And over the next 15 years, they would develop a genuine friendship. I mean, both were wealthy. Both were from New York, and both had a well-documented love for parties and being surrounded by young women. In 2002, Trump told New York Magazine, "I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it, Jeffrey enjoys his social life." I'm sorry, many of them are on the younger side. He said that publicly. People read that. People heard that. A former executive of a Trump casino described them essentially as best friends. While they have many public photos together, the Epstein files, they don't actually contain girls. An email from Epstein in 2011 contains Trump's name in a very specifically alarming way. It says, "I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Virginia spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned." And then in another email from 2019, Epstein writes, "Virginia Roberts worked at Mar-a-Lago. She was the one who accused Prince Andrew. Trump said that he asked me to resign, never a member ever. Of course, he knew about the girls, as he asked Ghislaine to stop." Both emails suggest Trump spent significant time with Virginia, and he knew something, which was the reason publicly silent. It's pulling in different directions here, and it becomes genuinely difficult to determine what happened. But the files don't stop at emails. They keep going. Trump is further connected through the FBI investigation itself. We have multiple files from alleged victims, all sent to the FBI. This first one involves a limousine driver who transported Trump in 1995. And I want you to prepare yourself because this next part is very disturbing. Redacted reported that some of the things President Trump had spoken about during a car ride on his cell phone were very concerning. Redacted reported he was a few seconds from pulling the limousine over on the median, and also within a few seconds of pulling him out of the car and hurting him due to some of the things that he was saying. Redacted noted Trump continuously stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone and made references to some girl. As Redacted talked about his time meeting Donald Trump, Redacted immediately stated, "He SA'd me." Redacted said, "What?" As Redacted replied, "Donald J. Trump. He SA'd me, along with Jeffrey Epstein." And the report, it continues. Redacted advised Redacted to call the police regarding the incident. As Redacted stated, "I can't. They will kill me." On Christmas Day, Redacted contacted Redacted and stated that she had in fact called the police. Redacted did not hear from Redacted until the 1st of the 10th, 2000. Redacted reached out, stating Redacted was dead and noted that she was found with her head blown off in Kiefer, Oklahoma. Officers on the scene stated that there was no way it was a suicide. Redacted committed suicide because she had gotten from a Mexican cartel. Redacted feels that the murder is a cover for Ghislaine. Were you confused during that? I was too. And I want you to remember here that this concerns the incumbent president of the United States. The accusations don't stop there. In 2020, an alleged victim reported her concerns to the FBI. It says, "I am very concerned for my safety, which is why I have not come forward sooner. I have talked about these incidents for years, and this has been documented. With everything happening now, I feel it is important for investigators to know that Jeffrey Epstein and many other rich, powerful, famous people were involved in trafficking me as a for them when I was 13 years old. I was by over 176 different men from June 1984 to December 1984. They even murdered a that I gave birth to while on the boat. They dumped her body into Lake Michigan. I didn't know just how powerful these men would become until years later. They were actors, musicians, politicians, athletes, royalty, and very wealthy men. Will my identity be able to be kept confidential? These are people who could easily make me disappear if they know that I'm still alive and have started talking." Holy crap. What a thing to say. The fear that she must feel, right? At any point, any one of those people that she's come into contact with, they could just take matters into their own hands. They could just offer. That's horrific. There was also the FBI document, which contains a list of more than a dozen allegations against Trump, compiled from phone tips, alleging that girls as young as 13 and that actual parties were held alongside Clinton. Virginia Giuffre herself said in a testimony that she did not name both things at once. A former limousine driver describing a phone call in 1995 that left him seconds away from pulling over and hurting the man inside, and Virginia Giuffre's no clean answer. And the temptation to force one is exactly the kind of thinking that Epstein counted on. People who believe what they want to believe make better victims of a cover-up than people who sit with what they don't know. It's clever, right? Terribly clever. What is not ambiguous is this: the girls existed, the occurred, and the official position of the United States government is operated by a man whose name appears in these files more than most of the others, and that nothing in those 3.5 million pages will warrant prosecution. How is that possible? This is the largest human trafficking ring ever discovered. And there are no answers for any of these people. But the connections to Trump are not the worst part. The worst part is that the government had every chance to stop this and chose not to. It was ignored entirely. The whole time, the FBI certainly had Ghislaine Maxwell in their sights, but nothing was ever done. Epstein was girls openly enough that his entire staff knew about it. An employee described fanning $100 bills near Epstein's bed, disposing of used condoms, and placing a gun between his mattresses. His butler, Alfredo Rodriguez, stole a secret copy of Epstein's Black Book, containing names and phone numbers of the girls who gave massages, and then tried to sell it and was arrested for his trouble. FBI Special Agent Christina Pryor reviewed the material, but instead of pursuing Epstein, they punished the whistleblower